a long time ago at a PlayStation 3 far away. It's Star Wars The Force Unleashed 2, the sequel to the 2008 release of The Force Unleashed, finds you in control of Starkiller, or so it seems. Apparently, Vader has been cloning and has a whole army of Starkillers, and you are in control of one of the more stable of the clones. And right at the onset of the game, Vader gives you a mission, and you, as a clone, have been having visions that Starkiller had, basically sharing his memories. The mission that Vader puts you on is actually explained in this scene right here.
Starkiller's Jedi mentor has been captured.
General Kota.
Yes. When your training is complete, you will travel to Cato Nemoidia and execute him.
Not one to disobey his master, Starkiller obediently goes out and starts his mission to search for General Kota. But before that happens, he has a little setback and decides that the best idea is to escape from Vader, because he realizes that Vader is going to kill him eventually, and he definitely doesn't want that to happen. So the game starts off with this sequence here where you're falling down. This is one of the more exhilarating sequences of the entire game, and there's one other one that you'll see later on in the review where you'll be falling down and throwing force powers and whatnot. One of the neat things that The Force Unleashed 2 does differently than the original Force Unleashed is really sort of making your force powers feel even more dangerous and more lethal and just completely over the top. Just the ability to run around and hack at stormtroopers and, you know, use force repulse like that, it just doesn't get old. You know, the Empire has an endless supply of the stormtroopers, and throughout the course of the game, you almost hope that you get to face every single one that the Empire has, just so you can find new and creative ways of using force powers to sort of, you know, decimate the stormtroopers and find new and creative ways of making them attack each other. One of the new force powers is actually the Jedi Mind Trick, where you can actually entice stormtroopers to either jump from ledges and commit suicide, or turn on their allies and attack each other. And as you'll see here too, the game is absolutely gorgeous. The first level on Kamino is great water effects and rain effects. And this level here, this is the boss fight on Cato Nemoidia, which is the fourth level in the game. And you're up against this gigantic beast called a Gorog. And this is one of the best sequences in the entire game. Though one of my gripes with the game overall is that the boss fights are easy, but they go on far too long because it feels like they've padded the health bars of every single boss. It's true for this fight with the Gorog. My playing time on this was probably about 10 or 15 minutes. I obviously had to cut it down to show you some highlights from it in the review, but it really kind of just doesn't feel right that these fights should last that long. And also, the final boss fight lasts for at least 15 minutes, if not longer than that, closer to half an hour. It's ridiculously long and incredibly easy, and that's another complaint I have. It just goes on too long, and there's no challenge to it. There's no tension at all. The other thing that, you know, is come up a lot with folks, and I completely agree, the length of the game really isn't up to snuff. The original Force Unleashed wasn't a long game by any stretch of the imagination, but that one, the original campaign on your first time through, would have taken you at least 10 hours to do. This one, I beat it in a day. I played probably less than 6 hours before I beat it the first time. And, I mean, it was fun. Those 6 hours were great fun 6 hours, but it really kind of feels like the game's a bit incomplete. I mean, overall, I really do like this game. I like what it's doing. I personally actually like the story and the whole idea that you're playing as a clone of Starkiller, and that, you know, somehow you're not sure whether or not you really are a clone or if you are in fact Starkiller. To me, I found that internal conflict really interesting and added a bit of a personal touch, almost an Empire Strikes Back feel to the story, where it was more of a character-driven type of game than was the Force Unleashed, the original one. But, I mean, aside from that, you know, minor gripes aside, the game itself is a lot of fun. If you're a Star Wars fan, I would definitely recommend at least renting it. I really don't think this game is worth $60. I purchased it, but I only paid $20 thanks to store credit at GameStop. So I'm probably one of the few people that doesn't feel ripped off by the game because I didn't spend a whole lot on it. But at the same time, there really are some fun parts to the game. You really do feel like a badass. It really does a great job at making you feel like, you know, you're a Jedi and you can do all this crazy stuff with your Force powers. So, I mean, definitely give it a try. And I would say overall, this game gets a 7.75 out of 10. Definite must-play for Star Wars fans, and definite rent for fans of action games for sure, and anyone looking for a fun challenge.
You got this place?
No, only a watcher am I now.
Then you'll let me pass.
Brought you here, the galaxy has. Your path, clearly, this is.
You know what I'm looking for.
Something lost. A part of yourself, perhaps. That's what you seek. Inside, you will find.